Have you ever wondered why, despite all the affirmations, vision boards, and manifestation rituals, your life still feels like it's looping through the same patterns? Why does it feel like no matter how hard you try to create a new future, something invisible keeps pulling you back into the same version of yourself? The answer isn't out there. It's not in the tools, the words, or even your goals. The answer is presence. Because what if I told you that presence isn't just mindfulness? A quantum portal. Right now, you're not living in the present moment. You're living in your memory of it, your projection of it, your interpretation of it. You're reacting from a past frequency, rehearsing future worries, and calling it awareness. But the truth is, until you learn how to be here, really be here, not in your thoughts, not in your emotions, not in your projections, you can't collapse a new version of reality. Because in quantum mechanics, reality doesn't wait for your effort, your will, or your desire responds to the signal you're emitting now. And presence is the only state that sends a coherent signal strong enough to shift timelines. The field isn't responding to your hustle, it's responding to your frequency. And presence is the frequency where past and future dissolve, where the mind stops recycling old code and the body becomes still enough to emit a new signature. This isn't a metaphor. This is physics. This is consciousness.
Yes.
This is a remembering of what mystics knew long before science caught up. The now is not a second dimension. And when you learn to enter it fully, you unlock a power that reshapes not only your perception, but the probability landscape around you. Stay until the end of this video because we're not just going to talk about presence, we're going to feel it. By the time we're done, you'll remember something your nervous system has always known: presence is not a state, it's a portal. And it's the only one you ever needed. You've been told that the present moment is where peace lives, but what no one told you is that it's also where power lives. Because the present isn't passive. It's not just about sitting still and watching your breath. Presence is the only place in the universe where you can actually interact with reality. Everywhere else, the past, the future, even your thoughts, are simulations, echoes, loops. But here, in this microsecond of now, your vibration becomes the brush and the field becomes the canvas. The issue is, most people live in time, but never in presence. They think presence means slowing down, doing less, being combat presence. It isn't about stillness on the outside, it's about coherence on the inside. It's when your thoughts, your emotions, your nervous system, and your awareness line up in one laser-sharp frequency. And that frequency, when aligned, starts sending out a signal the quantum field can't ignore. This is why nothing changes until you become aware of the moment you're in. Because reality is not fixed, it's responding moment by moment to your dominant broadcast. But when your awareness is scattered, when half of you is regretting yesterday and the other half is fearing tomorrow, your signal is noise. And the universe mirrors that noise back to you in the form of chaos, delay, confusion. But the moment you come fully present, something radical happens. Your nervous system begins to regulate. Your energy field begins to organize. Your cells begin to remember, and the field begins to shift. Not because you worked harder, but because you finally tuned in. That's the gateway most people miss. Because presence is subtle. It whispers. It doesn't scream for attention like fear does. It's not loud like trauma or stress. But it's infinitely more powerful. Because presence doesn't need to force it. Collapses. So the question isn't how do you do more? The question is, how do you become more here than you've ever been before? You wake up feeling already behind. Check your phone, and before your feet even touch the ground, your nervous system is flooded with low-grade anxiety you can't name. You move through your day ticking off tasks, pretending everything is fine, but inside, there's a tightness, a numbness, a weight you carry like second skin. You try to meditate, but your mind won't sit still. You write affirmations, but they feel hollow. You visualize your dream life, but it never seems to land. Down. Maybe you've started to wonder, is something wrong with me? Why do I keep attracting the same patterns, the same fears, the same emotional loops, even when I'm doing all the right things? Here's the truth no one told you. It's not your fault. You're not broken. You're just living from a frequency you didn't choose, one that was wired into you by repetition, trauma, and survival. You're not addicted to pain, you're addicted to familiarity. And as long as your awareness stays trapped in a state of unconscious autopilot, the quantum field has no choice but to reflect that state back to you, because the field doesn't respond to your hopes. It mirrors your habitual energy. When you desire change, if your body is still bracing for impact, if your breath is shallow, if your focus is scanning for danger, then the signal you're sending is one of fear. Not because you want to, but because your system has never learned how to feel safe in presence. That's why nothing you're trying is working. You're doing the outer work, but the observer inside you is still tuned to the old code. And until that changes, your reality won't. But what if the shift isn't as hard as it seems? What if you didn't need to fix yourself, only return to yourself? What if everything you've been chasing is already within reach the moment you learn how to be here fully? Let's ground this in something real. Your brain isn't just a thinking machine, it's a prediction engine. Right now, your brain is not reacting to reality, it's predicting what reality is supposed to be. Based on your past, it filters what you see, feel, and attract through the lens of what it already believes to be true. So when you wake up each morning and feel that familiar tightness, that rush of stress, that autopilot dread, it's not because your life is bad. It's because your nervous system has memorized a version of the world where stress is the baseline. And here's the kicker. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a rehearsed one. The thought of lack fires the same stress chemicals as actual lack. The memory of failure feels like it's happening now. This is why presence isn't just nice, it's necessary. Because the moment you become truly present, you interrupt the prediction. You stop the brain from rehearsing old stories. You pause the stress loop. You shift out of the survival state and into the space where your biology, your energy, and the quantum field can finally reorganize. This is what modern neuroscience calls neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. But it doesn't happen through thinking harder. It happens through changing your state. Presence is the fastest way to do that. When you're fully here, not scanning the past, not anticipating the future, your brain quiets. Your heart opens, your electromagnetic field expands, and for the first time in years, the field around you receives a new signal. That signal isn't "I'm broken," it's "I'm ready." And the quantum doesn't need time to respond, it just needs coherence. That's why the smallest shift in presence can unlock massive transformation. Because presence doesn't require perfect conditions, just requires that you show up. You don't need a full life reset to shift your frequency. You need a few precise moments of deliberate presence. One of the most powerful is right when you wake up. Before the noise of the world enters, your brain is naturally in a theta state, soft, impressionable, in direct communication with the subconscious. This is the most critical window of your entire day, and yet most people waste it by reaching for their phone, checking notifications, reactivating old stress loops within seconds. But if you pause just for 3 minutes and choose to observe, you gain access to a portal. Sit up, close your eyes, and before your mind races off into tasks or worry, ask yourself, what version of reality am I ready to observe today? Feel it, don't think it, feel it in your body. It's not the wishful version, the one that already exists. The you who's grounded, creative, safe, the you who walks with purpose and ease. Then breathe into that version, let your nervous system taste it. Your body doesn't care if it's real or imagined, it responds to whatever is emotionally rehearsed. And in that rehearsal, you begin rewriting the frequency of your entire day. This isn't visualization, it's entrainment. You're not trying to manifest a fantasy. You're calibrating your signal to a timeline that already exists. In the field, one that's been waiting for you to match it. The longer you stay in that frequency, even just minutes, the more it becomes familiar. And the more familiar it becomes, the more your subconscious accepts it as truth. That's when the field begins to shift. Not because the universe decided to favor you, but because you finally became a vibrational match to something higher. It's not about hustle. It's about signal. And your signal is shaped by what you consistently observe and embody first thing in the morning. The earlier you claim presence, the faster you collapse new outcomes. The biggest trap isn't distraction, it's unconscious rehearsal. Most people don't lose their alignment because life gets hard. They lose it because they keep checking. For proof it's working, proof they're safe, proof they're enough. Every time they check from doubt, they unconsciously signal the field to keep them in the old story. You might start the day feeling clear, but then you open your bank account and feel anxiety. You read a message and feel unworthy. You scroll social media and compare. And in those tiny moments that seem insignificant, you re-enter the timeline of fear. Not because you're broken, but because your observer was still wired to survival. This is the hidden loop that keeps even the most spiritual, self-aware, hardworking people stuck. You meditate, journal, affirm, but then react to life like the old version of you. That reaction is an observation. That observation is a frequency, and frequency always collapses reality. This is why presence isn't something you practice once a day. It's a discipline of refocusing again and again. It's not about being perfect. It's about catching the moment your energy drops and choosing again. Choosing to observe not from fear, but from trust. Not from lack, but from sufficiency. Because each time you do, you weaken the old neural path. You unravel the vibrational code of your past identity. And the field precise and neutral starts responding to your new coherence. That's how timelines shift. Not through dramatic change, but through subtle, consistent alignment. So instead of asking why hasn't it happened yet, ask, what lens am I observing through right now? Because that lens, that internal posture, is your broadcast. And your broadcast is either recycling your past or inviting your future. You don't need an hour-long meditation or a retreat in the mountains to shift your frequency. Sometimes all it takes is 60 seconds. You know what to shift? Because the fastest way to return to presence is through the body, not the mind. The mind will try to understand presence. But presence is not mentalized, embodied. So here's the practice. The moment you feel yourself slipping into old patterns, doubt, fear, urgency, pause. Just pause. Take one deep breath. Not a casual inhale, a deliberate breath that tells your nervous system, I am safe. Then shift your posture. Straighten your spine. Lift your chest slightly. Relax your jaw. These small movements send powerful signals to your body. Something new is happening. You've interrupted the loop. Now, in that space, ask one question. What would the version of me who already lives my desired reality focus on right now? Don't force an answer. Let it rise. Maybe it's a shift in energy. Maybe it's a sentence. Maybe it's just silence. That's presence. That's the portal. And when you practice this throughout your day, not just once, but as a sacred pattern, you begin to entrain your entire field to a new baseline. A frequency where your future no longer feels distant, but familiar. This is not just emotional regulation. It's quantum selection. And the more consistently you return to this state, the faster your outer reality bends to reflect it. Most people wait for peace to arrive before they relax. But peace isn't a destination. It's a frequency. You broadcast. And when you broadcast from PC van for 60 seconds, you invite in realities that can't land in the noise. That's why staying until the end of this video matters. Because what I'm about to show you next isn't just a technique, it's the key to collapsing the future timeline you've been chasing into your present identity. Here's the hard truth that most never realize. It's not your vision that's blocked, it's your identity that's misaligned. You're trying to attract a reality while still identifying as the version of you who doesn't fully believe it's safe to receive. And the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you're being. You say you want abundance, but still observe your life from a lens of scarcity. You crave love, but still look in the mirror through the eyes of someone unworthy. You dream of expansion, but your body is bracing for loss. This isn't because you're wrong, it's because the emotional blueprint of your past is still writing your present signal. That's the misalignment that blocks your timeline. It's not the lack of intention, but the contradiction in vibration. Presence is the only way to break this. Because when you become fully present, you momentarily exit the identity of your past. You stop observing from the lens that's been recreating the same loop, and in that space you feel the first spark of a version of you that's already whole. The one who doesn't chase alignment, but is alignment. It's the one who doesn't hope for change, but embodies it. That version is not far away. It already exists in the field. And the moment you observe life from its perspective, not yours, you begin collapsing its reality into your now.
Wow.
This is the secret behind every real transformation. It's not about effort. It's about identity resonance. So what we're about to do next isn't mindset, it's frequency override. It's not about thinking differently. It's about observing from a new dimension of self long enough for reality to rewire around it. This is where presence becomes power, not just in moments of stillness, but as a living, breathing identity signature. The practice is simple, but the effect is quantum. Every morning, before your phone, before your calendar, before the world pulls you into its gravitational loop, sit in stillness. Let your old story dissolve. No name, no role, no history. Just you as awareness. Now bring into your mind the version of you who already lives your highest reality. It's not the fantasy version. The grounded one, the calm one, the coherent one. See them standing in front of you not as something to reach, but something to step into. Shift. Don't visualize from your current state. Observe your life from their eyes. Imagine opening your inbox, responding to stress, walking into a room as them. Not pretending, remembering. Because your nervous system doesn't need proof, needs repetition. The more you observe from this identity, the more your field reorganizes around it. The body relaxes. The breath deepens. The energy stabilizes. And soon, the world begins mirroring back this version of you not through force, but through frequency match. This is not performance. This is calibration. And you don't have to hold it for hours. Even 3 intentional minutes is enough to send a new command to the field. Do it every morning, and you'll begin to feel it. A quiet confidence, an inner spaciousness, a strange sense that your future isn't coming. It's here. You're not pushing anymore. You're broadcasting. And the more consistently you observe life from this signal, the less effort it takes to sustain it. Because now, presence is no longer something you visit. It's who you are. Now that you've remembered how to enter presence and how to anchor your identity in its frequency, here's the most important part. Don't let it fade, because the field responds to consistency. The version of you that collapses timelines doesn't just visit presence when things are calm, they return to it when things feel chaotic. That's the mastery. Not staying high vibe all day, but remembering when you fall. So try this. Set 3 checkpoints in your day: morning, midday, and evening. At each point, pause. Close your eyes, take 1 breath, and ask, what version of me is observing right now? That moment of awareness is everything. It's the axis point where your past dissolves and your future chooses you back. Because the truth is, you were never far from your next timeline. You were simply tuned to the one that no longer serves. But now, you've changed the signal. And when your signal stabilizes, the universe listens, not eventually, immediately. So keep practicing, keep observing. And when doubt creeps in, when the old voice returns, smile, not because it's right, but because it's fading. You are not chasing a new life. You're collapsing into the one that's been calling you all along. And if this message stirred something in you, if it reminded you of who you truly are, then don't let the frequency fade. Anchor it, share it. Let someone else tune in through your signal. Like this video so it echoes back to you. Subscribe. So you stay in this field. And comment below, not just for the algorithm, but as a command to the quantum. I choose presence. Collapse my reality now, because this isn't just a video. It's a shift. And the field is already listening.